Hey folks, welcome back to the show. Happy to be recording again today. And in the same light as last week's episode, I want to continue the momentum on setting our sights for this new year. And what's interesting as I was preparing to record today's intro of the episode, I was out and about going on a walk, and if anybody else is in the Carolinas or even Georgia and some uncharacteristic areas where we experience some winter storms, I was sloshing around. We got 4 inches of snow yesterday, nothing crazy, but it stuck pretty good. Now it's icy, so I was having a good time kind of exploring the winter wonderland outside. But as I was walking around, I'm dog sitting, so I was having a blast walking the dog, and I was just smiling, and I was just happy, and it felt good. And it sounds weird because I know that on this podcast I talk a lot about being positive and being happy and pursuing what makes you happy, but I won't lie, sometimes it doesn't feel great. And I'll be honest, I didn't have, the most wonderful holiday. And, sometimes holidays are tough, and sometimes, family situations are tough. And we had a loss in our family right before the holidays, so it was a tough one. And there's just some other situations occurring with my family right now that maybe one day I'll be able to talk about. I'm not quite there yet, but sometimes we put our best foot forward to be positive, and that's my goal in life, is to always do that. But today when I went on a walk and I felt genuinely very happy for literally no reason other than just being outside, going on a walk, wearing my cute little Sperry snow boots that I don't get to wear very often, and just enjoying the morning and just being present in the day, it really hit me hard, and it was profound. And I wanted to share that on this episode today as I kick it off, because we're starting our year, we're getting our sights set, we're excited, we're motivated, and that's all very real and genuine. But also what's real is that sometimes we don't feel great and we don't feel our happiest best self, but we've got to keep pursuing that, and we've got to keep finding ways to tap into that. And that's what I want to continue to talk and share in this episode, in this podcast, in this show, and in this community, is that I'm a very real person with very real ebbs and flows and roller coasters of life, and I want to go through that journey with you all, and I want to be able to show up authentically as myself. And and further reflecting as I was going on this walk is that I've decided to do dry January. And as much as it's hard, and I've done it before, it's not impossible. If anybody's ever considered trying it or done it, kudos, pat on the back. It's not necessarily the easiest thing. And reasons for that being, it's hard to socialize and go out and about at breweries when you're not drinking, and it's maybe not quite as fun, or, I feel a little socially awkward when I'm the only sober one. So there's reasons why dry January poses its challenges, but if you can push through, and I've now made it, as I'm recording this, it's the 17th, so I've made it through the bulk of the month, and that's when you start to reap the rewards of what you are finding with this time. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, taking an entire month away from drinking, which is what I'm doing in my dry January. Maybe it's a January where you're not on social media, you're limiting your social media, or just setting that intention. But I think for me, what experience I'm starting to have is, for 17 days, well, on January 1st I drank, so I'm going to have to roll over into February a little bit. But for about 17 days now, I've drank a lot of water. I've woke up feeling great, other than the slight COVID situation I've endured in the last few days. But for the most part, I've woken up with energy, and I've woken up with a clear mind. I'm not gonna lie, I'm thinking my skin's looking a little clear too. But some of the benefits that I've found in, so my main agenda item has not been going to the brewery or going to the bar. My main agenda item has not been sleeping in because I went a little too hard in the paint the night before. And with this new time that I've granted myself. I've gotten through almost an entire book that I've been dying to read. It's called The Passion Economy. If you're looking for a good read, it's fantastic. And it's kind of inspiring some entrepreneurial spirit that I have within me that I want to tap into. And it's kind of giving me some ideas and kind of a little bit of a playbook on that. So I'm getting up, I'm drinking my coffee, I'm reading my book. I'm not finding myself wanting to be on social media, seeing what's going on at all the bars and all the nightlife and all the fun other people are having, which is great. And of course, I love to socialize and I'm excited to, get back out there and have some fun. But I'm finding that it's very easy to direct my attention towards things that are productive. And I'm not doing it to be a goody two shoes in the new year. And this is how I'm going to go read all the books now because it's 2022. But instead, I have clarity, and I'm granting myself the opportunity to do things that are important to me, and I'm eliminating some of the distractions that going out and about. And yes, socializing is fun, and I miss my friends, and of course, I'm still seeing them here and there. I'm not just shutting in because I can't drink. I'm not that dramatic, but I'm just finding that on day 17 of January, I woke up, I had energy, I started reading, didn't even know I was doing it. I walked outside, I walked the dog, and I'm just happy. And some of the problems that I mentioned before that weigh on me are still there. It's not like the problems have been solved, but I feel clear in my head that I'm doing everything that I can to put my best foot forward, to persevere through any challenge that might be in my way right now. And that's a pretty cool place. And I want to feel that more often. And if anybody can relate, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like there's a vicious cycle of some sort that you're trying to bust through, just give yourself the time. Hydrate. Give yourself the environment that's going to be conducive to you sorting through, and the environment to which you're going to feel the confidence that you are putting yourself in a good place to get closer to the results that you want. And that's how I feel today. There's nothing that I did, there's no magic wand that I waved that now all the problems are solved that I've been dealing with, but I feel like I'm a good person. I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be. And that is so freeing, and I want that for everybody. So just a little monologue to kick off this episode of something I was feeling very profoundly about. I want that peace for everybody. And I know every day I won't wake up and just smile because I'm outside going on a walk, but I want this more. So whatever I did today, whatever routines I'm starting to manifest, I want them to stick around. I really do. I really, really want them to be here for the long haul because I know it's going to help me prevail. All right, so on to this week's topic, and in that same light of what we just talked about and kicking off a year with momentum, with energy, I wanted to share some insights that I shared last year because the same exact messages ring true about how we want to kick off this year. Last week, we talked about how we want to polish off our purpose statement at the beginning of a year. It's a great opportunity to do that. So I hope you did that. If you did not, kick back over to that episode, give it a listen, come back over here, and we're going to continue on. And we're going to use what we've built in that purpose statement, and we're going to now use it to come up with our dreams, our goals, and really just have a nice brainstorming session about what do I want to accomplish in the next 5 years? What 5 dreams can I look to fulfill? All right, I hope you enjoy the episode. I appreciate this community so much, and I am so energized by you guys. So thank you for showing up. I'm going to keep showing up for you. Enjoy.
I talk a lot about journaling, and I know through this kind of beginning of the year kickstart, we're going to be really honing in on some things that are going to require some writing and some deep thought. But man, invest that time in reflecting as the year begins because it is so important. And if you can get a couple quick wins and be able to reflect on them a year later, it's a really good feeling. And I want all of us to be able to feel that satisfaction as we progress through this year. So just my 2 cents on journaling and my experience that I've had since I've incorporated it into my life. Last year, this is the first time I've ever done something like that. And I've already seen it keep me on track. I'm a very structured person, so if anybody's like me, it really helps me to see my end game and know the steps that I'm going to take to be able to get there. And also know that all the things that we're going to talk about over the course of the next few weeks, including last week we talked about purpose statement, it's not a perfect science. Like I said before, I intend to do this every single day, this journaling practice. I'm not always perfect, and it's okay. But what I want for you to open or enter this year with an open-minded attitude, process of some of the things that I'll share, and of course my guest speakers will share, because I think that there's so much value in hearing things that maybe you've heard before, but maybe hearing it in a whole different light, maybe hearing it from somebody else's voice. It's helpful. It's a helpful practice. So I hope that you're entering this year with an open mind, not just with my podcast, but just with the way that you're out there living your life. So just wanted to open up with that. So as we begin today, I know I just mentioned and kind of shot a little reminder that last week we talked about purpose. And as we begin today's show, I want you to think about what you wrote, or if you didn't, perhaps you did not participate in last week's activity, maybe you listened, maybe you didn't jot some notes down, it's okay. What I want you to think about is, what words would you describe the person that you hope to be throughout this year? Was kind of a quick, low-hanging fruit if you can capture that. So think of a few words that you would want to use to describe the person you will be this year. And really that then allows us to determine our purpose statement. So here's who I am, here's what I do, and here's why I do what I do, because this is what I want to succeed in, or here's what I want to accomplish. So if we're thinking about a purpose statement, I want you to think about your purpose, and I want you to think about this question. What is at stake if I don't live with purpose? What is at stake if I don't live with my purpose? If I don't work towards those words I came up with, if I don't work towards that vision of who I want to be this year and beyond, what's at stake? Imagine a future where the things you've written in your purpose statement, or the words you've used to describe who you want to be this year, are not true. Imagine that those words are not true. What are you doing? Who are you surrounded by? And are you happy? Not to scare or instill fear, but just to remind you of your why. Why you wrote those words down. Why the time is right here, right now. What is at stake if you do not live towards what lights you up, what sets your heart on fire, what you're so very passionate about, what fills your cup, and what brings you purpose? What's at stake? Because the world needs you to shine. And you probably can think of a close relative or friend in your life that always says things like, I just want you to be happy. What's going to make you happy? Allow me to be that person. I want every single one of you to be so freaking happy with your lives. So I want that for you. I want that for all of you. I want us to be happy. I want us to be fulfilled. I want us to spring out of bed in the morning, ready to bring it. What are those next steps? So again, if you didn't quite get a chance to write your purpose statement yet, I encourage you to press pause, listen to the episode before, get that locked in. But for the sake of this episode, if you want to write down 3 words that remind you of what you want to be, think of it as your own personal core values. For example, mine are, and feel free to let them inspire yours, but don't just steal mine, make them your own. A couple of my words are bold, impactful, and present. Okay, so I hope you've got your words. Say them out loud. Open the window and scream them from the rooftops. I mean, you don't have to do that, but feel free if you want to. I'm not going to stop you. Write those words down. Those words will eventually help you form your purpose statement if you haven't already. If you have, I'm sure those words are sprinkled in that purpose statement as we went in depth in last week's episode. What I want you to do next, and you might need a nice blank sheet of paper for this one, come up with a 5-year brainstorming session of what are the things that you want to be true in the next 5 years. And I want you to not hold back. Wildest dreams, best-selling author, triathlete, CEO of my company. I do not want you to hold back. What are your wildest dreams that you can conjure up that you would want to make happen over the course of the next 5 years? All right, so take some time to really think about that. From there, what I want you to do is turn your list. So take a look at all of the things you just wrote down, and I want you to select your 5 top dreams. I'm giving you some parameters here. If you like 10, pick 10, but I'm saying at least pick 5 of those dreams that you'd like to make a reality. So we are shooting our shot. We are setting our sights for something big. What are those things for you? Again, I thought podcasting was the craziest idea. And now that I realize it's not so crazy, my brain is telling me, you know what? TED Talks might call you one day. You never know. But I'm not just going to leave it up to fate or destiny. I'm going to make it happen. So what does that look like for you? In the next 5 years, just throw all those visions out there, get them all in one place, circle at least 5. And those are going to become your goals, what you want to achieve. What is the end game? What is the destination? And how sweet is it going to feel to cross that finish line? How awesome is it to be the healthiest I've ever been? How proud of yourself are you going to be when you gain that promotion, or you receive that certification, or you learn that language that you've been wanting to learn? Visualize that as you hone in on at least 5 from that list that you just came up with.
All right, folks, thanks again so much for listening today. This is, of course, the Oddly Enough podcast, and I'm Audrey, and I'm just so happy to be here with you all. And I'm going to continue on in this energizing community and the effort to just be able to show up as our authentic selves and to find the ways in which we can strive towards living that best life that we hopefully have just set out. What are those 5 things? What are those 5 goals in the next 5 years that we're going to accomplish? What are the words that we want to be our credo that we live by? And again, they should be scary. They should be a little bit scary, and that means we're growing. All right. Thank y'all so much. Would love to see you on Instagram. I promise I'm getting better at my posts. I will say that's probably one of my least favorite things about the things that I'm having to learn is how to engage on social media. So please know that I am working on it. I've got my color schemes down. I've got a little bit more of a flow of how I'm going to make sure and share some of these nuggets with you as we continue on this journey together to live our best lives. So remember, if nobody has told you today, you are enough. Thank you. Love y'all.